Hello, guys. What a pleasant surprise, right? It has been quite a long time since our last polarizing dialogue video. It has been precisely 4 months. Anyway, welcome back to Polarizing Dialogue, episode 9. This time, uh, I would like to clarify that for the next coming weeks, we are going to be as consistent as we can. For the next few weeks, at least, there is going to be a video of Polarizing Dialogue itself every Sunday. So yeah, I think we can just get into the video today. Episode 9 of Polarizing Dialogue. The topic for today is actually networking. And I think which person here is actually better to start with networking other than Sakhi, because she has actually gotten in to a new college.
Finally.
So I think Sakhi, it'll be best if you start.
Yes, so for context, I'm in Mumbai right now. I'm not in Chennai anymore. Networking, dude, I cannot emphasize enough how it has helped me. So, especially this, I thought of this even before getting to college because I know how much it helps and I can see it like right now. Because who doesn't want to be known in college? I mean, why do you not want people to know you? And it's not just because you want to be popular or you just want to make more friends, but in general, it's very good to fetch you opportunities. I have a lot of opportunities in my hands right now. And I know I will have more because I know a lot of people in college now, be it my batchmates or seniors, mostly seniors. So yeah, my experience has been incredible. You tell me when you first got into college and how it has helped you. I'll continue from that.
Yeah. Yeah. So when it comes to networking, I should not. I'll stay away from mentioning my college because for obvious reasons. But when it comes to networking, it's actually I would like to quote something that I heard online. A person actually said that he actually refuted this point where people say that. He refuted the point of view where people go like, "What does it bother? I'm just a tiny person in a tiny universe. What does it matter? Whatever I do." To which the person actually replied that when you talk to another person, they might know like 1,000 people. They might
Exactly.
know like they might be connected to 1,000 people, which means I haven't checked the math, but the way he said this actually sounded really interesting. He said that you are basically one person away from a million and two people away from a billion, which is
Hmm.
again a very interesting way to look at networking itself, because when it comes to just networking situations in general, people nowadays they just approach it from a very opportunistic way. To which my refutal or my response is that, I mean, what do you know about what is it that you want? I mean, we know a little bit about. I mean, we know most of what we actually want, but at the core of it, sometimes just situations itself, the way it surprises you, you actually get taken aback by how much the situation itself, how much your soul actually required the situation itself to happen. I don't know if that made sense, but yeah, when it comes to just networking itself, I think you asked me for my college experience. I'll actually like to tell you about an experience about the conference that I attended like
Hmm.
last month, 2 weeks back. This conference was hosted by a non-profit organization that I'm a part of, and it was a truly an eye-opening experience for me, because the amount of vast cultures that I was able to experience, like a wide array of people from different shades, like people from different backgrounds and just different
Hmm.
personalities, just getting exposed to that, it's really like an eye-opening experience. And the amount of knowledge and amount of perspectives that people bring along with them, yeah, yeah, networking is kind of a hack. And not to mention, with networking itself, networking is one of the most important reasons that I am actually staying consistent right now. I might like announce that in the upcoming months, but yeah, seeing how the project goes. But yeah, networking itself, I really cannot stress how important it is. You really do not know in what ways certain people will be of help to you. which is why you need to
Exactly.
like
As
yeah, which is why you need to like not approach networking itself from a very opportunistic point of view, but rather like approach it from a very humane point of view. Just try to know the other person, just try to
mm,
treat them as a human being, and just try to treat them the same way that you treat another person. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on networking itself. I think with that you can continue with your college experience, because I'm really eager to actually know the ins and outs of your college experience itself. So
exactly. So the last point you mentioned, that don't look at it from an opportunistic point of view. I actually thought through this, and my mom used to tell me that when you get into college, you got to make good friends. You're gonna pick you have to pick a good bunch of people, and who you learn from, and who have good experiences, and who are like kind of elite and all of that. She's told me that before. So okay, I had that perspective before. Not as in from no, not from that. I mean it in a good way. Elite as in I mean it in a good way. Like okay, who speak well and all of that.
yeah, I think
Yes.
you were mentioning about how, yeah, elitism. Go ahead
Yeah,
with
elite
it.
as in okay, not in the other sense. I mean, those who speak well, who look smart and all of that. Okay, that was my perspective when I got to college. But what I realized was you gotta speak to everyone. That is very important. Because like you said, you don't know what the other person will bring to the table. And I met so many people who I thought I would not befriend if I had that mindset, that whatever my mom said. So I speak with a lot of people, and they teach me different things. So the thing about my college is that nobody is from one particular place. You will find people from all over India. So I haven't met so many North Indians in my life, and I'm probably the only one from the South. There's hardly anybody from the South in my college. So yeah, that it kind of makes me feel very good for some reason. It's a flex, but yeah, I get to learn so much about people's culture. I even realized that I'm Jain, right? I met a couple of other Jains, and because the region is so different, I've lived in Chennai and they've lived in, for example, if they've lived in Punjab or some other place, the, their culture is slightly different, even like in terms of rituals and all of that. The things that they talk about, it's slightly different. So I get to learn so much from other people. And yeah, so about networking, so there are, I divided this into two parts basically. So it was before getting into college and after I got into college. Before was there was this page that my college had already opened, and people usually first years usually wrote their introduction. So they'll post a picture and a little bit of introduction about you. I made so many friends just through that, so many connections. So I had a lot of friends in my college even before getting into it. So that was like my first circle. Through them, I met a lot of people. That was before college, and I just realized very recently that some seniors in my college, I've already known them through LinkedIn. I texted them about, can you tell me about your experience and how, so I already know them that way. So that's one thing you can do. And one thing, there are many things that I learned during this journey. I wrote them down. So basically, one very important thing is you should be very open to having conversations and you shouldn't be cold. Now, there are certain people in my college who people look at like they're cold and they're not warm enough, and I don't think I should approach them. So, people already hesitate to talk to them, and that doesn't create a very good impression in any way whatsoever. So even if you have strong opinions, I don't think you should put them out very soon when you're in a new social circle, because certain people will like them, certain people will not, and that will limit your networking or whatever that is. So that's just how I would start. There is a lot to talk about, but I would want you to continue if there is anything that you would want to add to this.
Yeah, the point about just mentioning the strong points later is something that I've actually learned. As you know, I'm a person with very strong opinions. Yeah, it's something that I've learned over the last month or the last few months itself is it's regardless of however extreme your opinions are, you can always find middle ground when it comes to conversations. And my perspectives on discussions itself have changed to the point where I've stopped. I didn't actually know this when during the time that I was doing this, but I used to be a person who wanted to like destroy the other person. But as you learn more about the topic, or as you learn more about yourself, and as you learn more about discussions itself, you understand that when you destroy someone else, it's just momentary pleasure. A pleasure exists. But it's like a momentary high that you get. You don't actually come out the other end a better person, even if you have all the points to like destroy the other person. I think I've already said this to you. It's always harder to actually understand where they're coming from. And most of the situations, it's actually the better choice, because that way you will be exposed to more points of views, and you'll be exposed to more ways in which people approach a situation. Maybe it can help you in like future in your future endeavors and stuff. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. About elitism and yeah, just getting to know people who are part of the higher society, like unfiltered. I'll just mention that because I mean it just makes it that much more simpler. The problem with that is because the problem with that is most of the people part of this higher society, they bring mostly similar things to the table. Right. The perspectives are all similar. I mean, they are diverse when it comes to individualistic point of view, but when you take a very general stance, their angles from which they approach a situation is very similar. However, when you get rid of this notion that you will only talk to a specific group of people, what you do is you basically broaden out your mind, and you broaden out your receptiveness towards points of views itself. So even if a person not so from the higher parts of society, when you talk to them, they don't really seem that intelligent, which in itself is a very flawed way of looking at the situation itself. Because what do you know about intelligence? Intelligence is a very personal thing. Even if the other person does not seem very intelligent, what you actually find out, if you approach a situation with the notion that the other person might know something more than you, if you approach a situation with this idea, you might actually know, or you might actually find out so much more when in comparison to the other point of view, if you just approach a situation thinking the other person is not intelligent enough. Like personally, I've learned a lot about Chennai and a lot about like food, like street shops. I mean, it's a very popular notion that Chennai is known for street food. I've I thought I knew what that meant. I yeah, Chennai is known for street food. Don't you know that? It's a very
No
common
way.
thing. Yeah, I think Chennai.
Probably not. So
Yeah,
when
I've
people
heard
ask me about
this.
Chennai, I'm like, what's in Chennai? Okay, this is it's historically
That was me.
relevant. It has a lot of temples, but what what else? There's
Yeah,
Marina
that
Beach.
was me. That was me. But oh my god, the amount of street food shops that I like went to over the last 2 months, it completely blew my mind. Especially one shop in specific, I would like to tell you. There is this shop called Delhi Tandoori Chap. I don't know if you've heard of it, but Delhi Tandoori Chap. Yeah, Delhi Tandoori Chap. Oh my god! As a person who goes to the gym, for the longest time, I've been searching for a place with just a protein, with just something protein heavy. And oh my god, chap is both protein heavy and budget friendly. It's like 60 rupees for like one bowl, in which it completely fills you, and it also gives you like, I don't know, 10 to 15 grams of protein, which is a lot if you know something about protein itself. So yeah, that's just one example of how networking works in this kind of niche situation as well. But yeah, networking, oh my god, bro, just approaching the situation with just the notion of just a notion of learning, and with just the notion, or just the idea, or just the assumption rather, that the other person might know something more than you do, is very important. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on networking when it comes to, yeah, individuals. Networking when it comes to college, as you mentioned it, in the initially, what I actually thought was, I was very foolish to think this way. First year, I actually thought that I was above college. I thought the college itself was beneath me. Right. This is still a belief that a lot of people like hold, not just about college, but about a lot of things. When, for example, when a debate competition comes up, the person literally assumes that they are above the competition itself. There is a very popular saying in the Bible, I think, which goes something like, approach, or rather, uh, fulfill your lowest order as your highest calling. Which means approach the situation at hand, regardless of however small it may seem, as it is literally the biggest thing in life. Right. And due to which, from second year, I actually started making concrete steps to improve my experience in college. And contrary to a lot of people saying that DG Vaishnava sucks, I would actually say that I enjoy college, because I found the way in which I could make college useful. Like, for example, 2 days back, I had the opportunity of teaching corporation school students, or rather selling our college to them, which is a very unique experience. Right, because you don't get to use the same language that you and I use to them. So you have to think in a lot of ways and stretch your mind in a lot of ways in which you can like connect with those kinds of people. Right. So these kinds of experiences and these kinds of opportunities, I don't think I would have ever gotten if I stayed inside my shell like I did in first year. Not to mention the internship that I'm going to right now, also a part of internship, also a part of networking, because I knew this one dude from third year when I was in second year, through which I got the internship. A lot of opportunities, like you said, right? A lot of things. I could just go on and on and on about the opportunities and how my life has actually benefited from networking itself. But as I've said, I think I've gotten this complaint of talking way too much in these episodes itself and not letting you speak. I mean, speak. So I think you can continue on your points about college or just networking in general.
So networking in general, I'll tell you. So I started even 2 months since I've been going to MMA classes, so mixed martial arts, and oh my god, so my coach, very influential guy apparently, and there are many law students who come to his classes, and like I can literally get any NGO to like get in touch with any person from an NGO or a law firm or an advocate in the high court. I can get anybody's contact number because my coach knows them, and he's very friendly, he's very approachable himself. So that's a plus. There's one more person who comes in my MMA class who has given me the contact of an advocate. So, the kind of connections that I can make just by going to that one class, it's unimaginable. It's not useful now because I'm in my first year. I'll need this later when or actually have to do internships. So that's a plus. And in college, I'll tell you. So basically, how I created this was I oh, so I'm a part of like 4 committees. That's the maximum that you can be a part of. So yeah, I got into 4 committees. I know so many seniors now. And one thing that people don't emphasize enough about, so you get to know people, you get into committees. It's super important that you work very hard and show that you actually want to do something for the committee. I don't think it's talked about that much, this specific thing, because when people know that you want to work, that you are dependable and trustworthy, mm, so many others that you know there are other people that that specific person would know, they would also start trusting you and giving you work, and then giving you more opportunities. So if you're out there, if you're open to learn, to adapt and be receptive in general, it helps you a lot. That This is a very recent realization that I've had, and it has gotten me opportunities. There's still a very, very long way to go, but I think I've done pretty well. I'm very satisfied with whatever it has uh, given me. And basically, so in class, I would say this I haven't done enough, honestly. So anybody watching this video who's getting to into college or has already gotten, I would just this is little advice that be very, very active in class. Not just, yeah. So when you're asked a question, you answer. Do not hesitate to be wrong, because once you know, okay, you get embarrassed for once if you say something wrong, but after that, the learning. So this is a law school, right? If you get something wrong, if you get a perspective wrong, there are 10 people to point at you and to correct you. Even if it's embarrassing at that moment, you learn 100 things about that particular thing, and you're not going to get it wrong when you're asked about this later. So one tip from my side is that be very, very active in college, in class, in life in general. So that has immensely helped me. Would you want to tell me about your committees? I don't think I've ever actually talked about that.
Yeah,
You're a very
before I
giving
actually
person. That's one thing I know.
before I actually mention about the committees that I'm a part of, uh, the one thing that you said about you being dependable or putting your, I mean, basically selling yourself as a dependable person actually ties to a bigger concept, which is not just about networking, but when it comes to life in general, when it comes to social situations, it's very important that people always put their best foot forward. Like they just sell the, it's not about selling themselves, just try to be as yourself as possible. And when you let go of all the possible outcomes that might net, because when you are as yourself as possible, that also includes the bad parts. But when you be as yourself as possible, what actually happens is very magical, as you said. Like I can tie that back to the part where you said that people should not be hesitant towards giving wrong answers. That is a part of being yourself as well, because when you give wrong answers, you know which parts of you has to die, which parts of you have to correct. So when you're going in a general direction, like towards your goal, small situations like this itself, you can, it actually gives you corrections to like optimize your path and go straight for the goal itself. So yeah, that's 2 cents about whatever you just said. And yeah, the committees that I'm part of this committee called Vaishnav Initiative for Excellence in college, which is basically responsible for conducting most of the biggest culturals in college itself. Right, that, and I'm part of my department, so I think I'm one of the core organizers of the events which are conducted in my department itself, through which only I got the opportunity to teach the corporation school students. So one thing about my department itself, it's very interesting. And I think I've already mentioned this when I mentioned the thing about college, is that a lot of people have this negative notion towards college or negative notion towards the department itself. See, I'm not telling you you guys are wrong, but you can either look at the glass as half empty or half full. Obviously there are a million things for me as well to complain about, but what good does actually complaining about all these things make? That nothing good comes out of it. So what you can actually do is, whatever opportunities that you do get from this, you try your best to like utilize it as much as you can. Right. So when it comes to, yeah, I think yeah, one point about what you made, one point that you made initially when the video started about you being known in college, it's not so much about popularity as you said, but just being known as a person also helps your self-esteem when it comes to purely selfish reasons, or when it comes to opportunistic reasons. If you are someone who's very outgoing, who's very like who's very articulate, who has a niche or who has a knack for understanding people, you'll get a lot of opportunities when it comes to just these, when it comes to just situations where these skills are required. So I'm known in college as a very articulate person, which resulted in me getting a lot of opportunities for me to host events. A lot of exposure. Actually, you gain a lot of exposure through this. Would you believe the amount of exposure that I gained through this helped me in sales calls, one-on-one sales calls with people from different countries? It's actually very interesting when you actually see, you wouldn't actually approach the situation in which you are supposed to host an event, talk to a lot of people with the notion that, oh, if I actually approach a situation like this, I'll be like that much more confident in sales calls. But those are the unintended effects of situations in general, and those are the unintended effects of just networking and opportunities. So yeah, I think those are my 2 cents. Yeah, yeah, advice and tips for networking, I have quite a few. When it comes to just networking, I would say that, I mean, this is not just for networking, the first advice, but just try to be as open to new experiences as possible. People, when it comes to when they have a very positive experience, or very such a huge experience, such an eye-opening experience, they get attached to the experience itself, which is very wrong. I mean, I'm not saying it's very wrong to do that, but I'm not saying it's very wrong to get attached to the situation, but it's very important to like move forward. It's not just about the situation. Life is all about the moment, the present moment, right? So when it comes to just networking in general, just be very forward to like new situations, new opportunities, and try to grab as much opportunities, and try to just put yourself in more, as many new situations as possible, because it frankly would stretch you in so many ways, in which it'll literally, if you just want to get down to the bottom of it, it'll literally make your life easier. Just everyday life, it just gets easier as you become more and more confident. And when it comes to the second tip of networking, which I'd like to give people, again, this does not just apply to networking, this just applies to life in general. Provide value. Just try to just provide value and just help people in whatever way that you can. It doesn't matter if it's like very small, in which you can just tell them about a certain guy that you saw on YouTube, or it can be like really big, to the point where you can like refer these people to other people which might who may need them, right? Just try to provide as much value as you can without actually looking for outcomes, or looking for anything material, actually looking for something materialistic to gain from them. It's very ironic, when you approach the situation with this point of view, you'll actually gain all the material things that you wouldn't actually gain if you directly approach the situations with these notions in mind. Because people are actually very intelligent. We as humans, we are very primal. We are designed to spot people with impure intentions. Because in the olden days, if you weren't able to do that, you'll die, right? So we are actually biologically designed to spot impure intentions. So it's just a golden, like, proper solid rule of thumb to just approach all the situations with just a very genuine perspective. Again, this doesn't just apply to networking. Just be as genuine as possible, and yeah, provide value to people. What do you think about that? I think everything that you said was related to providing value itself. I think, like, being dependable, being like actually open to do work, all of this is just trying to provide as much value as you can. And when you are prepared to like provide as much value as you can, other people will see you and they'll be inspired. Oh my god, this person is like doing all this, what am I doing with my life? That's a very negative way of looking at the situation itself, but that can actually spark you into action itself. So I think that's a good thing, right? So yeah, that those are the two tips that I would like to give. Would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, definitely. So about providing value, that definitely is okay. Providing value is one aspect of it, very big aspect. But it's also that, you know, people who are not very good at certain things, they hesitate to approach people because they'll be like, what will I say? Why would that person want to be my friend? I'm not that good, or whatever that is. So that hesitation, I think, stems from the point of view that, they're not good enough. And, it hinders in the process of getting to know other people. So that's one thing that I would not want people to think, because, you know, when you talk to other people, you also realize that there are many things that the other person also doesn't know. So, yeah, that helps a lot in this situation. There was one
Which
more
is
point that I was
fine,
gonna add. Sorry,
right? Which is fine. I mean,
which is
everyone,
fine,
all of
is
us are just
absolutely
figuring things
fine.
out. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're in college. We're in college. We're all kids basically. We're here to learn. And uh, I was very intimidated when I was coming. I mean, after I got here, I wasn't. But I was like, okay, it's people from different places. I don't know how. I don't know where I stand in their comparison. There was this thing, but once you start talking to them, it feels like we're all from the same generation, and we're on Instagram and we're on the same social media platforms. We talk about the same things. We listen to the same music. There's nothing different, and whatever's different, that's just individual thing, and you learn a lot from other people. That was in that aspect. And so yeah, basically in the beginning, how I started making friends was, I would give random compliments to people. I cannot emphasize enough how much that helped me. I have this habit of, telling people if I like something about them, and it has helped me a lot in making friends and, in forming normal cordial relationships with people. So that I think if you like people, if you like something about them, go ahead and tell them, do not hesitate. They might, it would make their day, and it would also give you a friend probably. So yeah, that would be probably it. There are many things to this, man. I can add to this, but then that's the end of the conversation, I think.
It's not just about making their day. I think like purely approaching this from a very selfish point of view. Like many people might ask, like, how does this actually benefit me? To which I'll actually respond. You know how people are very scared of judgments from other people. The solution to that is actually very weird. I arrived at this situation. I arrived at the solution in a very weird way. The solution to actually break free from the judgments of other people, you stop judging people first, or you judge them in a very positive way, right? If when you give random compliments to people, it puts your own head in a very positive state of mind, wherein you start approaching all the situations wherein you see people and you automatically think one positive thought about them, to which if at all you do something which deserves a lot of judgment, quote unquote, you'll automatically start thinking about the positive ways in which people may perceive whatever you did, which is also a good thing. So approaching this from a very selfish point of view, again, it always helps, like giving random compliments to
100%
people.
agree. And if
Yeah.
you're good to people, they're gonna be good to you. This is 100% true. Very, very
and
diplomatic, but yeah.
and people who seem very bad, or society labels them as bad, it's very important to actually understand where they're coming from. Even
Mm.
that like stretches your mind in like so many different ways. Like good, it's not so obvious in most of the situations, which is also fine, because all we can do is try to be as good as possible in our own definitions. So yeah, I think we have to wrap this up. The Zoom is going to kick us out very soon. So yeah, guys, that is me and Saki on the discussions of networking, like networking in general. If at all you guys have any kind of suggestions, you guys can add to the comments itself. Saki, do you want to add something? I think it's going to kick us out, right?
No, I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
I was
Okay,
very
guys. Thank
excited
you
to do
guys for
this.
watching. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Thank you guys
See
for
you in the next.
watching. And yeah, see you from my side.